As I like to say with every beginning of the show, and we're live. I haven't done that in a while. It feels pretty good. Matt, it's always good to see you. How are you doing?
I'm great, Robert. Hope you're doing well.
I'm fine. It's just been too long, so I'm just itching to kick it off just because we've got a great guest. So let's cue up the intro and we'll do our jibber jabber and we'll bring him on. So
sounds good.
All right, I know it's been a while. Oh, here it is. Very nice. You're watching Verbose Wednesday. I'm Robert Lee, oh God, this is bad. What do I do? Okay, so I'm the executive video producer and founder of Shalala Productions, where we create marketing videos as well as providing live streaming services for clients specifically within the medical and the educational field, as well as a specialty in pop culture. And I'm here with my good friend.
Hey, I'm Matt Haas. I have YouTube channels. I do lots of things about YouTube, including a course that's called Be Awesome on YouTube. Find out more at allthingsyoutube.com. And I have 32 videos that are absolutely free, cost you nothing. So jump on in, learn how to be better at YouTube.
Yeah, because like when you started out, it was like what 30, 15 or something like that. So when you mentioned you're creating more videos, I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be good.
Oh, I haven't stopped. Yeah, it's an endless catalog of instruction and tips and concepts and how to grow your audience. It's amazing. And I do have some premium videos on there. One-time cost currently $15, might go up, and then you'll get access to the premium catalog. But as I said, there's 32 videos sitting in there. You can watch them absolutely for free. You just have to get a free account and you're off to the races. Allthingsyoutube.com is where you go.
Be there or be square.
That's right.
I think I got that right because
it's really going good too. Students are coming on. They keep getting at it. I'm like, okay, something must be going right.
So, exactly. Well, I mean, we've been talking about topics, so I want to jump into the subject. Hang on, I have where did I put it? Oh, here we go. That's right. We spare no expenses with the graphics.
You are a video professional, so
yeah, it would help to be able to throw that in there. So let me, what I'm going to do in the comment, I'm just going to throw in a link as to the link to the article that's the inspiration for the subject for today. And that's pretty much the idea of just like how folks present themselves in front of the camera. I know, like, oh God, I don't remember if it was like the last time we were on air, you had mentioned of the idea that just pretty much the norm is folks looking unprofessional in either a professional setting or on the video. And that got my attention. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm thinking, it really depends on the circumstances. And so the article I have here, and Matt helped me out here as the stall while I try to get the link up here.
Okay. Yeah. Robert needs to push some buttons. And pushing buttons and hosting a show simultaneously is a lot more difficult than you might think. But he does a good job, so that's good.
Well, thank you. All right. Oops. I got it. No, I don't. Wait, I got it.
Yep.
Wait, where was it?
Unprofessional is the new professional. That's the buzzword, at least from my direction. We might get a difference of opinion from the show, but we'll see.
So our special guest, Chris Wayner, a good friend of mine that we know way back at, oh God, how long? Well, Chris will probably correct me because my math's off. 5-6 years, and we've been keeping in touch virtually. So when his post came up on LinkedIn where he talks about, let me just get the title about on his vlog, just in terms of just how people present themselves in front of the camera. Just like the idea of like a parent getting on there. It's sometimes not uncommon to see them with their kids and stuff. And that also got my attention just about like how you want to present your best foot forward. Well, that's not the right phrase, but just you want to present yourself in the best way. And I thought that, it makes sense that why not bring in the author of the article and to join in the conversation. So hang on, where the heck is it? Okay. So with that, here's a little bit of a special that I don't think anyone's prepared for. We'll introduce our special guest. Chris Wainer, everyone. Thank you, Chris, for coming on.
I'm sorry. You're welcome. That was a lot of. That was many pictures of my face.
Hey, people gotta know who we're talking to and what the gentleman looks like. So, like, what better yet but to illustrate that with a lot of images.
Yeah. Speaking of Robert, how long have we known each other?
Oh God. Well, let's see. Was it? Well, we joined a video Facebook group where they had helped us learn about the business as X video. What 5-6 years ago?
5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
Do you know how to pronounce my last name?
No. That's why I thought I set it up. Because I always call you, hey, Chris. For the record, how do I pronounce your last name?
Weir.
Where are we?
No, like what they have on the river, a weir.
It's German. Very well done, Matt. Thank you. You've done your research. Robert, I'm a little disappointed.
My name's a little difficult for some people. Haas is how you say it. And it's also
you got to say both the S's.
Yeah, it works.
Well, I mean, and Matt will vouch for me. I've mangled everything related to like analogies, comparisons. So it's just another thing to add to the list of things that I butcher. So
of your foibles. Well, I still appreciated the intro and the animated intro. I may have to post that by itself just to LinkedIn or something like that.
Well, I'll just be sure to get you a copy. And so, because I thought it was kind of fun because the work you do with Clever Creative is with the animation explainers, and you help business owners with their camera presence. So I thought it'd be kind of a fun way to introduce you there.
It was great. I want that. I want that clip.
All right. Well, I was gonna say we'll get our people. I'll find people on that, but most likely I'll send it to you. So
put the production crew on it. Take some time off.
All right, we'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean, to the point earlier, I mean the article you post on LinkedIn, and I know like in an earlier conversation with Matt about the idea of just the not only camera presence but how you present yourself. I always look at it as a way of just you want to be able to put your best foot forward as to how you present yourself, whether it's what you dress in or in the background. And so I thought it was interesting, just the way just where it's defining like the new norm that people just kind of like as to like if they're like caught in their living room and you have like a lot of stuff going on because life happens and stuff. And
right.
I don't know if it's me just being old school, just like you want to look your best and
right.
And everything like that. I mean, Matt, I mean, like for you, I mean, have you found that that has been challenged with people you talk to with your programs as to how they present themselves to the audience and stuff?
Right. And when I'm lucky enough to give them some consulting, which I do for free on my Monday live stream at 7 p.m. Eastern on the All Things YouTube channel, they're often surprised that they can do just a few things without investing any money to make a boost in quality. Like, for example, just the height of your camera can be wonderful. Like they're not looking up at you, so they're not looking up someone's nose is a very unflattering. And when you have a laptop on a desk, you're often sitting up higher and the camera is lower looking up at your face. All you have to do is reposition your chair or reposition the camera. Boom, you have increased the quality. So yes, there's all kinds of challenges. People come to me at all levels, at the very beginning and even people that have been doing it a while. And it's there's challenges up and down for sure.
And Chris, with with the clients that you talk about in terms of their presence, especially like in LinkedIn, do you find yourself advising more on not only the camera presence, but just in terms of like the technical aspects of how they present themselves, or more of the content, or just more like the imaging? I mean, my fear is like if I had to like adjust the camera, like if I if I accidentally forget to change my shirt and all of a sudden I have like a big stain, the last thing I want to do is want to get up and all of a sudden they see this big red tomato paste splotch or something like that.
Yeah, I think from what I'm seeing, there's a lot more business owners making their own videos now, which makes a lot of sense because
Right.
they know what they want to say. They've got a really good camera in their pocket, and they want to get their message out. But as you guys sort of already mentioned, there's a myriad of things to consider when you're making your video, from wearing something that doesn't have a stain on it to your angle of your camera to your lighting and sound and all that stuff. So it's really ranging pretty widely, people's knowledge and experience of what to do when you're filming yourself. So I think ultimately, I tell folks, like, people will sit through bad production if your content is good. If your content is good, people just don't care. They will like bear really bad sound, really bad lighting, really poor compression, really distracting backgrounds if you have great content. So that's number one, is like, what are you making, first of all? And if you're making great stuff, then start to improve your production to match it, is my general thoughts on it.
Yeah, I mean, because and to the point earlier, yeah, I mean, if your content's spot on, I mean, some of the things that that could be glaring, that could be a distraction, is merely like aside, because people are really tuned in on what you're presenting. I mean, they won't notice like there's a hole in your wall, or or maybe like a dog barking in the background, because they're really keyed in on what you're presenting. And a lot of it, I would take, is just more of just knowing your audience in terms of the content that you're providing. At least I hope.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing, especially marketing B2B, is knowing who are you talking to and what is quality for them. But I guess to your point about the backgrounds, like, usually I film with a green screen. I don't film with this background. Not that this looks that bad. I got a moving box here, but it doesn't look terrible. But I do think that there is something to be said, especially when people have super short attention spans on LinkedIn. Like, they have no time. They've got a minute or two to make your point and hopefully provide somebody some value. Any distraction point, on the flip side of this, any distraction point from your messaging takes their focus away from what you want them to be thinking about. So, you can go, once you are getting going, you can really go the other way and say, all right, I'm going to do everything possible to point people to my content,
And to your point about the limited, how do I put this, attention spans, it's almost like the less distractions you have to get their attention, the better. And here's the other, I don't want to say surprise, but to the point I alluded to earlier. Now, this is called the Dolly Parton challenge, and
I've seen this.
You've seen those, right? And so the great thing about what she did was just to illustrate the point that depending on where you're presenting the content, it's almost like you're reaching out to the audience as to like what the format calls for when you present. Now, to me, I would think that if you're really on brand, and let's say like, I don't know, let's say you're Cowboy Curtis and your whole thing is you always present yourself as a cowboy, regardless of whether you're LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, because you've already have that ingrained as what your look is, that would be an example of the exception. But in most cases, in terms of just trying to be able to get their point out as to capture that short-term attention span, it's almost like, what are ways I can identify to remove the distraction to get their attention? And I thought this was like a great way to illustrate that, to be able to like tune in to the format of the audience, so that way they can get their message, so that way they can key on the message then to pay attention, like, why is that guy wearing a cowboy hat or something like that? And to illustrate that point, I kind of threw that out there just because, just
I like your Tinder photo there.
Yeah, let's just say that's probably the safest thing to put out there.
Sure thing. Well, I mean, as was mentioned, good content will grab attention. So if what you're saying is solid and your content is desired and strong and of value, then people will hang around for that, for sure. And there are a lot of successful people, boom, blank wall, nothing behind them. And then there's a lot of successful people that have stuff going on in the background too. But it's the content. Bulleted list, baby. Before you go live or before you make a edited video, bullet list what you're going to say, and that will instantly boost the quality. And if you have grainy video, if it's poor production quality, you've got solid content, people will hang around.
Yeah. To the Dolly Parton challenge point, I would argue that ultimately people, with showing the different parts of your personality, I think all of those outfits are actually appropriate for all the platforms. If you're building an audience, like, people want to know the different parts of your personality. So I think, probably even 6 months ago, 8 months ago, people would have been like, oh no, you can't put that content on LinkedIn. And now people are putting a lot more of their personalities, especially with COVID being out there, keeping us all in our homes and having to do more interactions this way. They're putting their whole personalities out there. And honestly, like, people don't want to do business with a business robot. They want to do business with a human. And they want to see the different parts of your personality, which is, Robert, I think you're so great at, is that you bring your whole self to your posts. Like, I really know you as a person through your posts, which is what you want. Like, you want to know who the person is. So, yeah, I think that any part of you that feels authentic and feels like it represents you well is okay to put out there.
That's great. I love that. I'm a geeky, quirky, passionate person everywhere online. It's not an act.
Yeah, I mean, it's always tricky, like, in any format, specifically like with LinkedIn, just because when it first started out, to me, I always saw it as the professional version of Facebook. But I think over the past few years, I've observed that as they start increasing the number of YouTube influencers that are migrating into the LinkedIn atmosphere, that you do see that shift from something that's more resume content or resume type of interaction to, like, starting to break through the walls of getting to know folks. Now, I mean, I pretty much, like, the way I look at things is try to, like, at least try to present, like, a consistent presentation of how I am, whether it's in video and writing and stuff like that. So when we first got to know each other, Chris, I always thought it's kind of fun that it's always fun to be able to, I wouldn't say like let my guard down, but just to be able to try to communicate like how we would, like how we're doing now. And just so that at least it's just to try to generate the excitement of just having a good old fashioned type of conversation, albeit in a virtual form. So so it's always fun to do, just because I love the posts that you have, just because you're doing what you're preaching in terms of just presenting yourself out there with the content you have, as well as engaging, whether it's the questions that you put out there, or even some that are tongue in cheek in terms of how people present themselves with their business video, or just even like creative pieces.
Right.
I do see we have a question for you here from our good friend Paul Weber. Let me throw it up there. It says, a question for Chris. I recently posted a video on LinkedIn and got over 800 views. Oh, man. That's more than I heard. Sorry. After having not used the platform properly for ages, it was a good thing to do. Do you recommend videos over just a picture and words on your post there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it really depends on your business. Obviously, all the posts that I do, for the most part, are almost all videos, because that's my business. I make videos, so I'm going to promote my work through that. But video on LinkedIn, I tell people it allows you to do three things really, really well: entertain, educate, and motivate. And I think it does those things better than almost any other kind of post. So I recommend having a regular video strategy. I think it's integral to allowing your customers to get to know you and let them decide if they want to work with you. And you have to do less outbound marketing, because then you have people coming to you. That said, as far as the algorithm is concerned, photos and text posts tend to get a further reach, so they get a wider reach. But I believe that the engagement that you get with video is a higher quality, and people stick with video longer than they do with other kinds of posts. So unfortunately, to my knowledge, LinkedIn doesn't have a ton of information on, on average, how much more does somebody watch a video than they do a text or photo post. But that's generally across the web. Video posts tend to get longer engagement than they do with other things. So while it may not reach as many people, you're going to get more engagement from it. So I tell people that, 5 years ago, you needed a video for your website. Now you need videos. You need a video strategy, and you need to be putting out regular video content, I think.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Platforms love video. Video is on top. If they detect original uploaded video from a user, and this is Facebook, this is LinkedIn, this is everything, video is the top. They love it. And then photos are next. They love, photography or pixel images, and then plain text is last. So if you can put together a video, it will do better because the platforms love it. And if you're talking Facebook, live on Facebook, they push that the hardest. People get notifications, people get emails. I mean, it goes everywhere. If you're live, it just goes everywhere.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't. This is actually my first live stream on Facebook. So I'm interested to see. It's neat that we're getting questions and things. Never actually delved into the live side of things.
Well, now you have. So, I mean, oh man, I gotta be careful, because I've been trying like blankety blank to get LinkedIn Live, just because of just how engaging a live stream format is when you talk with your peers as well as to your audience. And so it's like the next level to the videos that you post there, because what's tough is that with the videos that you have with LinkedIn, the conversation is one way in a visual format, and it's not until like you get the engagement within the chat is where the live action begin. And I always like to be able to try to be able to do both, to be able to engage and talk. And well, I guess you could say it's kind of like multitasking. But I mean, like what we're doing right now, just because I think people get a lot, because where like in chat, sometimes things can get a little bit misconstrued, just because, how do I put this without sounding like civil? The people's voices in their head is a lot different than how you actually present. So it avoids any type of miscommunication and doesn't take away the point that you try to get, because the last thing you want to do is like you spend half the time trying to explain what you're trying to say and address tone, then get to the meat of the matter of the subject that you're presenting. I have to say, when I heard you say entertain, educate, I'm like, oh, is he quoting my 3 E's? And then you said motivate. You're like, ah!
Like, oh, I didn't know you had the 3 E's.
Yeah,
maybe
it's like,
I stole that from you.
I could see Matt's grimace, like, oh no, he's gonna say the 3 E's. No,
what are your 3 E's? Entertain.
It's entertain, educate, and enlighten. Only because for me to be able to have the 3 E's, I had to come up with the E's. So, but I mean, it's just to your point. I mean, I'm glad that you view the same thoughts as to like the type of content you want to get out there to really engage. I mean, LinkedIn. I'm starting to focus more on the format. So, but I mean, to the point earlier as to like the format you're in as the type of video to present. I think maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt. I think like within LinkedIn, I'm starting to see a lot of people shoot their videos in a car than like in YouTube or Facebook. And I get it, and that because a lot of people like are on the go and they want to be able to throw something up there, and I'm like, well,
yeah, a car video is very story like. It's as if it's a story on one of these platforms, and if what they have to say is engaging, it'll work. It just will. I mean,
Yeah, I think that there's something to just doing different things. So, record one video in your car, record a video when you're on a walk, record a video in your living. Like just having, our brains are constantly looking for new. We want a new thing. And if you can bring that even just in your backgrounds, it makes a difference to people's engagement with you. Like they know that you're taking the effort to put on a little bit of a show for them by changing your background. Even if you film all your videos in one day, change your shirt so that you don't have, well, yeah, for obvious reasons, but so you don't have like week over week over week, same location, same shirt, where it's just obvious the person recorded these all in one day, and them just like.
For me, the haggard look. When people look pretty tired, they're like, "Yeah, that guy did it all one day." Because like you go from the first one, we're in the same clothes. Hey, and after the 10th video.
Well, during quarantine, I shot videos for my course. Same shirt every video, longer hair each time. So it was not shot in one day. You could see over a month and a half.
Just like growing down.
It's like that old time lapse video, like video 1. So to my conclusion, and all video 10. Well, you start sounding like Lucille Ball. I'm like, oh, wait a minute, hang on, what's going on here? But I mean,
baby face, no beard here.
But
I grow in splotchy. It doesn't work.
doesn't come in well.
But you're bringing the juice to your videos, Matt, so, which is great. So that whether it's one day or multiple days, I mean, if you pardon the expression, they're eating up the content just because they're listening as to what you're doing. I mean, my concern is whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, or what have you, that because everyone's so aware that video is one that gets a lot of attention or garner a lot of the engagement, is that everything's kind of blurred the same just because the approach, the format, because they're all doing their best to practice their best practice in what goes into the video. And when they do that, it's almost like because of that uniform approach that they lose any distinction as to how to stand out. And so to me, I have to be careful because a lot of times whenever I present this view, it's almost like, well, like put your money where your mouth is kind of a thing. So I think like last week or two, when I had to take my parents to like the medical visit, I don't know, for whatever reason, I'm still thinking about, I'm in a car. Am I going to really put a car video up? Like, oh man. So like, all right. I got to do something to shake things up because it's just going to like bleed into like all other types of car. So the first video I put up there, I'm like, well, let's tease it up a little bit. So the first video I shot was like just 15 seconds, just like I'm just like there shooting B-roll. And I'm like, well, that's not good. That's not going to be enough. Just throw it up there because they'll be like, oh, he's sitting in the car. So the second thing is just, okay, go right into it and just give a little bit of like a behind the scenes because, and I think you mentioned it in an earlier video, Chris, just about the value of behind the scenes because it gives people like a kind of exclusive peek of like, like reveal behind the scenes as to like what they're doing or the work that goes into it. So it's kind of flipping that idea on its head where it's like that, but just kind of giving a little bit more of a play-by-play. Why did I throw that up there? What's the thought behind that? And in doing that, it does two things. One, okay, it breaks up the monotony. But two, it hopefully just injects a little bit more life that, okay, you're taking into account where your environment is and you're focusing on the content. But, if you're able to like, just to like put a little spin on, like throw a B-roll in there, maybe like before you start off a video, you show a car dropping it and then you go right into it. I mean, for me, because like where I was, I had to keep the mask on. So I think that got a lot of people's attention. Like, oh man, is he sick or something like that? But it just like adds to the context of where it's being shot and just really adds to the dimension of just like punching up the types of videos you're presenting. You kind of like you say earlier about just revealing a little bit about yourself, what you're doing. Like a lot of people are doing their best to manage the pandemic. And so that was just to the point of, okay, I'm just trying to help out my folks. And that also kind of adds to the idea of just you reveal yourself. So it's just to the point of just trying to find things to shake things up. Now, knowing me, I'll give it a couple of weeks, and then maybe someone else might do it, and they might dress in like a gown or something like that, which that might be a bit bizarre. But to the point that, I mean, at least people are just trying to think of ways to stand out, and hopefully it avoids the idea of that cycle where they might kind of like be uniform. But I think that would be the key, is just that if people can kind of maintain that creativity and thought, like the videos that you put, Chris, as well as yours, Matt, I think that would help stand out. I hope.
I think so. And if being easy to do helps as well. Like you said, if you're in your car and you're parked, don't make a car video where you're holding the camera and driving. That's a pro tip. Don't do that. One, it's not safe, and two, you'll get roasted on the internet. But yeah, no, phones are so easy. And the cameras and phones are awesome. They are high-end things. Break it out. And might I suggest YouTube? We've talked a lot about platforms here. We haven't mentioned YouTube. Don't leave YouTube out.
YouTube is huge. I've got a channel that's been like a testing ground, and you can make one video and get thousands of views. And the thing I love about using YouTube is they will stick around for a longer video. They will watch a 10-minute video. Yeah. Whereas LinkedIn, no. You got 2 minutes.
YouTube is a place to build a hardcore audience, devoted fans. Facebook feels more like passing. Like, oh, I'm on Facebook already. Oh, maybe I'll jump in if I see the notification. So yeah.
Yeah, I would think, and I think we're gonna try experimenting. I've had a Facebook ad ready to go for several months and just haven't started running it yet. But I think we're gonna do that in the next month.
Okay.
And I feel like Facebook people are there to kind of relax and spend some time and enjoy themselves. And same with YouTube. Like, people are going there to learn, or they're going there to chill and hang out. And so there's a difference in their immediacy of what they are willing to watch and take time out of their day to engage with.
I mean, I think because for me, the appeal with the Facebook Live is it's so accessible. And I think from a workshop that Matt and I had met in April, which is LIDA, which is Live Every Day April. I think one of the things that they talked about is that there's some folks that like to stream multiple channels simultaneously, and then there's the train of thought where it's good to be able to good handle on one to master before moving on. And so I had to resist the urge to try to do both, just because I'm afraid, like, it's the idea of the short attention span, like, oh, I'm on Facebook, oh, I'm on YouTube, to be able to get a firm grasp of one, to be able to then move on to the YouTube. But I know, like, with Matt, have you done more like simultaneous, or just focus more on YouTube when you?
I'm mostly only on YouTube, but I'm very well versed in the subject. And the biggest thing you need to get a handle on when you're simulcasting to multiple locations is you can't ignore an audience on one of your locations. I've had someone go to Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, never responded to Twitch. And people got mad, and they started talking bad, and then don't ignore the platform that you're on. Always engage.
You can merge your chats with an app, right?
Yes, and the host was not very technically savvy, and for whatever reason, the host was good at responding to Facebook and YouTube, but information that would come through Twitch, he, for whatever reason, didn't see it or didn't respond to it, and it was a hardship for the host. Yeah. So if you're good at keeping all audience engaged and you're responding to all audiences, then you can pull it off. But you're spot on, Robert. If you should be familiar with each platform before you simulcast. That's a good pro strategy for sure.
I'll add another pro strategy is that when you're doing, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, if you're going to do multiple, you're going to definitely need more than one person to work behind the scenes. So that way it would address the challenge that Matt had mentioned, where you don't run the risk of alienating one platform because they didn't see it. So
I have a pro tip for behind the scenes if we want to go into that.
Bring it on! Let's hear it! Come on!
All right. A lot of hosts, what they'll do is they'll have a Discord server and they'll open a Discord chat and they'll invite certain people who plan to watch the show. I mean, not as a guest, but just in the audience, watch the show. And what they'll do is they'll look for questions and they'll talk in the ear of the host. Now, no one can hear the Discord through the stream. It's sort of a private conversation with the hosts. And then I was doing that for a while. And a lot of the people I know have Discord servers going with 2 or 3 people who are just watching the chat. And they'll say, hey, Rick, XYZ asked about this particular topic. And, as long as it's little short quips of speech, it won't throw you off, because as your host, you're delivering content. You can't have your admins kind of talk your ear off. But yeah, it works.
Interesting.
I was afraid they were going to read like a question from War and Peace, then he'd be like,
no, they'll just say, Bob asked a question about a minute ago, scroll up. Or they'll say that they asked a question about this particular woodworking tool, if it's a woodworking show. And then that way the host can scroll up and find it. And it helps. And it helps people not be ignored, because then that gets people bent out of shape appropriately. So
yeah. Well, especially too, if you don't know, I mean, if you have an expectation that you're the only person asking a question,
right,
because nobody else is watching it on that platform, and then the host is like answering all these other questions, you don't even know what order you're in if you're like going to be queued up at any point. So
did you hear Laura? She almost said the word Slack. She has her team on Slack, and what they'll do is I think they'll actually copy and paste the question, and they'll vet the questions. Like, that's pro. Like, that's if you have a team of people you can use. But Discord is free, 100% free. And, you can have a one-way conversation privately while you're streaming.
And and I agree with Paul. Talkback, that is pro. I'll add a footnote that not only you want to have people to serve your eyes and ears, but make sure they know what platform you're working on and are familiar with it. Because the last thing you want to do is like have someone that's familiar with Facebook and you throw them on a YouTube setting and be like, well, not that they wouldn't be able to figure it out, but it's always good to go to the people's strengths of the platform you want them to keep an eye on.
Right. And also, I think knowing the culture of the different the different platforms, because I'm sure that example that you gave, Matt, like, I bet this person didn't know that much about Twitch, and not that there's bad people there, but they're gamers and they're there to like have fun and like make fun of stuff, and so it's like if you don't know the culture of the platform, it's probably best not to stream there quite yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, although I will admit that I was a little bit disoriented when I checked out Twitch, and I've seen some people actually have like their own like talk show, and I'm like, Twitch? And it completely surprised me that they even like would look to expand the type of format. So that's a real eye opener to see other people that try to shake up the format as the type of content you see. Because I think even like with YouTube, they would just like show replays of like gamers from Twitch, or is it they would actually
they have YouTube gaming.
Yeah.
Twitch is trying to bring more than gaming to their platform. Trying.
Right. So, but I'm the guy that if I try to play a game, probably the guy in the corner with the gun spinning around, and I'd be easing pickings.
That's called a noob. You're a noob.
not a nub as in never mind. So on that,
into a nub once you're shot to pieces.
Yeah, I won't go into my glory days of GoldenEye, because I don't know what's below a noob, but I mean,
I think that's the lowest. Yeah.
Yeah. it's like you always hear the death song whenever you see the four corners all drenched in red and everyone else is kind of
Don't get me started on Halo 3, baby. I played the heck out of that back in the day.
Yeah, again, Halo, I'm probably spinning counterclockwise there. So, but but on that note, since I figured this is probably a good time to try to wrap up and just get some parting thoughts from you gentlemen, as just to like tips or just advice you would give others in terms of the videos that they present, in terms of how they present themselves, how to master platform in terms of their audience there. So I will go to, is it counterclockwise or clockwise if I go with?
It might be backwards for us.
Oh, how about like I'm thinking a number between 1 and 2.
1.
All right, go Matt.
All right. My tip is to let your personality shine through, even if you're delivering high-end professional content. Don't be a stuffed shirt. And if there's an issue, bring the audience along with the issue. If it's alive, if there's a technical problem, don't get all embarrassed and don't freak out. Just bring them through the problem. People like to know that the good quality that they're getting from someone is an actual real person that has interests like piano and 8-bit video games. It's all good. I deliver a lot of professional content, and there's the Pac-Man ghosts and there's Yoshi. It works. It works. So that's my part.
I would second all of that. That's being authentic. Your authentic self is clutch. And then my general advice is just get started. Just do it. Nike, you have to just do it to find out what your style is, what works for you, what people respond to, what they like, what they don't. And, working mostly on LinkedIn now, the nice part about it is the worst that's going to happen to you is you're going to be ignored. YouTube, Twitch, even Facebook, people are going to come on and they're going to troll you and make fun of you and all this other stuff. Business owners are like, if they don't like it, they're just going to ignore you and they're not going to knock you for not doing a great job. So you just kind of have to look in your comments and things and see if you're getting responses. And if you are, then you're doing it right. So just do it.
I think Matt, you were saying is it like a badge of courage or when someone either flame you or give you a bad comment, that's a good thing? How's that go again?
Well, there is a private Facebook group for woodworkers who have YouTube channels, and it's for troll comments. So when one of us gets a troll comment, we screen cap it and put it in this private group so the world can't see it, and we just celebrate the troll. And if it's someone's first troll, then that's even better. Then the champagne bottles, emojis start going everywhere. Yeah, it's a rite of passage.
I would totally agree with that. Like if you're on YouTube and you're getting trolled, you're doing it right because you're getting enough views to bring out the trolls, and you're like, wow, I've made it. I'm getting trolls. Wow.
And the best response, at least on YouTube, is a response where you're thanking the troll for the engagement and the watch time and the dislike, because and if you could spin it it really helps when people comment on my videos like this. Thank you. And the troll comment is horrible and disgusting, and you're thanking them for what are they going to do? There's no response they can come back with and look good. None. Right. It's bulletproof. I love it.
Right.
So so it may not be a bad thing if you wear a shirt that's full of holes or tomato sauce, because if you're getting flamed on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah. If you're getting trolled on LinkedIn, you've got major problems.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, never mind. I'll say the punchline for another time. But yeah, I mean, as long as you're finding ways to stand out and just to celebrate the wins or just find ways to plug along, it's always a good thing. I got to be careful because I'm going to start to sound like Captain Obvious. So on that note, we're going to wrap up. And again, Chris, thanks for coming out. I really enjoyed having you joining us here, and it's always been a pleasure to be able to pick your brain and just join us in this. I'm not sure what the phrase to put it, but just chat fest, gab fest. What's a good word, Matt?
Well, it's good to have him here. Let's just say that.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, guys. I had a great time. This was a lot of fun, so I appreciate it.
Drop a like on the video, people in the chat room, if this was helpful. We would appreciate that. Something free you can do for the channel.
Oh, Matt, we almost forgot.
Oh.
Ready? Let me throw a date.
I'm ready.
All right. I got to remember. Wait, this thing. All right.
It's coming back to you. 3, 2, 1. Here it comes.
Oh. We've been practicing, folks, if you can believe that.
There was 3 hours of rehearsal for that.
Sadly, we forgot to give one for Chris because I would have won.
No, you did. I'm a terrible friend and I lost it.
No, I mean, you were saying like you're in the middle of a move, so maybe it's like underneath like the sofa wedge or something like that.
It probably is propping up my desk to make it a little bit more even or something.
Well, I'm glad it had a purpose.
Oh, Robert, look at Paul Weber's comment about his first troll. I love it.
Let's get that up there.
Yeah, please.
Oh, wait, did I get the wrong one?
That's the wrong one.
Well, that's not the right one. We spare no expense with the bloopers, folks.
It's recent. It's more recent. Go to the list. He said, I had my first troll this week on YouTube. One of my followers defended me. Love it, he said.
That is a nice feeling, too, when you get the troll and somebody else stands up for you.
All right. Somehow I'm not seeing it. I feel bad because I want to show it, Paul, but I'm glad that Matt read it to me because I can't find it. Dang it.
Congratulations on your first troll, Paul. You've made it. You're a real YouTuber now. Not that he wasn't before, but still.
Exactly. So sorry about that, guys. So with that said, just want to thank Chris as our guest. Matt, it's always been a pleasure. Let's do it again next week. Same time, same bat channel. Same for Verbose Wednesday channel. But I need to work on the closing. But other than that, thanks everyone again for watching. And you can always catch the replay on LinkedIn and YouTube. And again, as always, if anyone's looking for help with their live streaming efforts to help the hospitals or medical frontliners, be sure to hit me up. Be glad to help them out in any way possible. And whatever I can't remember, I'll throw it in the description. So for Verbose Wednesday, I'm with Matt and with Chris. I would say your last names, but I'll probably butcher it. So I'm trying.
Weird.
Why we have Matt?
You don't even need to. You did it bad enough the first time. We're good.
With that, everyone, stay safe, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Oops, sorry, guys.
I was wondering if we were going to come back on screen.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.